Alright, hey YouTube, welcome everyone. Thanks for coming and watching my video, deck tech, cyber guide, gameplay, all the shenanigans. See me do well or not do well, get wrecked. But today we're doing a Jund. I like to call it's the mid-range obviously deck because it runs a bunch of high cost cards here. But I like to call it Jund Big Boys. Just because obviously Ringer, Elder, Questing Beast, stuff like that. But yeah, so it's a Jund deck in Historic. We're doing pretty well with it. Um, what am I saying? We're doing pretty well with it. We've won a few games or a few matches so far with it. But we got into Mythic with it, and then now we're gonna test it again in Mythic to see if it's any good in Mythic. We played it in Diamond, and it got us from Diamond to Mythic. But now we're going to play test it some more in Mythic to see if it's great in Mythic. But it's Jund Big Boys, Jund Mid-Range, whatever you want to call it. But this is going to be the intro is going to, I'm going to give you the intro here. But if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe, hit that like button, follow me on Twitch, subscribe to me on YouTube. As always, check the description of the video. Inside the description of the video, you'll have the link to follow me on Twitch. You have the link to the Stream Decker list, so you can easily export this to Arena. You'll have other things on there. Just so check the description. Make sure to hit that follow, subscribe button. Hit that plus on the notifications. I post videos weekly, 2 to 3 videos a week. And it's the decks usually I'm doing well with. They're making to Mythic and stuff like that. But yeah, so let's get into this intro. So right off the bat, it's Jund. So it's black, green, red. So we were playing some Blood Chiefs. You can easily, so I was debating on either Blood Chief or what's it called? Fatal Push here. And ultimately I chose to try Blood Chief here because they kind of almost do the same thing. Obviously, Fatal Push, if something dies, you get to, what is it, revolt something bigger. So we're going to give this a try here at the moment and see how it works. If it doesn't work, we can easily just replace it with Fatal Push, but there's 3 of those. Obviously, 4 Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is a powerhouse card. Look at your opponent's hand, card information, remove their best card out of their hand. Like, this card is just great. 4 land, where else we want to be ramping into some of our big guys here. Glorybringer, Elders, Veraskas, Kioras. We just want to use that as a ramper. We're not an aggro deck, so we're not caring for, 1/1 is not going to hurt us since we're not an aggro deck. 2 Gravedigger's Cage. We don't have any graveyard synergy here, so we don't care about our graveyard. We do care about them using Collected Company, Muxus, Uro, stuff like that. So 2 Cages here is a great card in the format. Obviously the top 3 decks is Uro decks or Goblin decks. Even stops Loris's abilities and stuff like that. Collected Company, Gruul with Collected Company. So those are like the top end decks. Also Rakdos, stuff like that. So it's a great card overall. We're only running 2 at the moment. We had another one in the sideboard, but I ended up cutting it. So we'll see if we might need the 3rd one back in the sideboard. 2 eliminates, this helps us kill. So the reason we're running 2 eliminates is obviously it's good against aggro decks. It kills their creatures. But also the 2 eliminates are there to kind of kill Narset. Since we're running Kiora and we could keep drawing cards with all our creatures we cast. So we cast this as a 4/4, draw a card. Cast this, we draw a card. Cast Questing Beast, draw a card. Cast Glorybringer Elder, draw a card. Then we can use it to untap lands. It also ramps us. So we're running the eliminates to kill creatures and primarily to kill Narset. Narset would hurt us a lot because then Kiora is only there to untap land. So it's not really worth just the untap effect. 2 Scavenging Oozes, so we can eat Uros, we can eat other escape cards, I guess. We can eat whatever in the graveyard we need to. It's a good card. It gets big. Gains you life against red and whatnot. 1 Shadow Skull. I'm debating on if I want this as 2 of, but our red is not very much, but it's a removal. But the problem is that we don't have too much in terms of red. I mean, we have what, 4, 5, 6, 10, 13 red, so maybe we could do a second one. It's a removal. It's the reason why I'm debating on the second one is because it's a removal spell. Worst case scenario, it's a pay 3 life untap land. 2 Bone Crushers. We don't really want too much Bone Crushers. We could move this to 3. I don't know. I don't think you want to do 4. If you move this to 3, you can easily, I would say, cut a Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize at 3 and 4 is still going to be great regardless, 3 and 4s. But so if you want to do that, you can cut one Thoughtseize into a third Bone Crusher. And the reason for that is obviously it helps with Cure. If you cast the 4/3, you draw a card. But also it's there to remove some early interactions. 2 mana do 2 damage. Damage can't be prevented, but the damage can't be prevented is also a very key aspect, because if you play against like 9 lives decks, this part goes around this limiting 9 lives combo. So that's also huge, which is also why we run Questing Beast. But obviously in the sideboard we have, Cindervines, Reclamations, Vivian to deal with 9 lives, and then main deck with those, but it doesn't hurt to have that. You can also do a 4th Gruul Spellbreaker if you want instead of the Bone Crusher, but that's your choice. 3 Spellbreakers. We didn't put this at 4 just because 3 is good enough. It's also, we're usually casting this as a 4/4 with Cure basically, but you obviously, if you don't have Cure, just cast it as 3/3 in aggro. 1 God, we're using that to exile Earls and stuff like that. It's also a win condition. We can easily actually make this into a creature just with how many, so that has 2 devotion, that gives it 2 devotion, that gives it 2 devotion. Spellbreaker gives it 2 devotion. We have 1 here, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there. So we can easily activate God as a creature. 2 Cures. I feel like this might be better at 3. So you can even cut the Thoughtseize for the Cura, just because it's such a beast once you start dropping all your creatures. Like, it does so much. It ramps you. It draws you cards. It does so much. So the original deck I was running was Gruul big boys, Gruul mid-range. And then I wanted to add black in here for like Thoughtseize, the removal, Vraska. And in the Gruul deck, this card is a killer. Obviously, in the Gruul deck, I am running more 4 power and up creatures, so it does draw me more cards, because I'm running, I'm running 4 and 4 of those. I'm running like 4 of those, 4 of those. So we're drawing more. We have more creatures, so we could draw more, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I think it's a very great card in this deck, so we'll see what happens. 1 Chandra, it's a great card against control decks. I only have it here as a 1-of because since we have a lot of high-end cost cards here, the first effect is usually just when you cast it, it's always just going to get exiled. You can use it to ramp yourself if you want, and I originally had another one in the sideboard, but I think Vraska in the current meta is just better than Chandra outside of control decks. So outside of control decks, Vraska is better because it can kill any, pretty much against all those aggro decks. It could kill any of their cards, Witch's Oven. It could kill, what's it called? The creatures, like it could kill Spellbreakers. It could kill, it could kill any creature. It could draw you cards, and it has a win condition. Whereas Chandra is better against control decks because it's card advantage off the top of your deck rather than your hand. So your hand size is still big. They can't have that many counter spells to deal with both the top of your deck and the cards in your hand. Worst case scenario, it does 2 damage to them, something like that. So I'm doing it as a 1-of just based off what the current meta is. Obviously, if the meta goes more towards a control package, then you're going to want to have more Chandra than Vraska. But if in the current meta, it's more of kind of like a creature deck with Gruul, with goblins, with Rakdos, with John Sacrifice. So that's the reason why I'm doing this. Why I did 2 here and 1 there. But like I said, if the meta changes, you can easily adjust this. 2 Questing Beasts is a great card. Obviously, it goes after Planeswalkers by attacking them. Vigilance, Dead Touch, Haste. I mean, I don't really need to explain that card. It's just a great card. And then we have a 3/3 split on Gargroth and Glorybringer. So the cool interaction, interesting interaction here is Glorybringer and Kiora. So you can exert Glorybringer, do 4 damage to a creature, and then on the same turn, or even the following turn, since it doesn't untap because it got exerted, you could use Kiora's minus to untap it and then attack again. So that's the good interaction with Kiora and Glorybringer on top of drawing a card already. But you can exert and then use Kiora to untap it, exert the next turn, use it, untap it, exert, tap it, exert, untap it, So that's such a great combo to do with those 2. So we have Glorbringer, and then Elder Gargoth is obviously a 6/6. We were playing ramp cards. We were playing what Elf. We're playing Kiora. So we could possibly drop this on turn 3. And if you drop this on turn 3, yeah, it's going to be very hard for your opponent to win since it has Vigilance. It creates bodies. It can draw you cards. It can gain your life. It's a 6/6 with Trample. Like it's a great card. So we have a 3/3 split there. The lands are pretty basic here. I don't think I've had a problem really with the lands here. I should be, like all the lands I'm looking for are pretty much there. Obviously the black is just a splash, so we don't have that much. We have 11 sources black, but it's just a splash just for the removal and the hand disruption. So there's that. All right, so now the sideboard, 2 duresses against control decks. You know, Azorius, whatever, Sultai maybe if you want. A braid is there against the aggro decks, which is ovens. We don't care about Grafdigger's Cage, obviously doesn't do anything against us. Against the Paradox decks, so we bring those in against those decks. Cindervines is mainly against the Paradox and the 9 lives decks, so that way you can destroy their artifacts. They take damage, especially against the 9 lives decks. They're just gonna, not 9 lives, the Paradox decks, if they want to try to keep looping, they can only loop so many times before they just die. And then I could also just destroy Paradox or whatever. Anger the Gods against all the aggro decks, Rakdos, Gruul, all that stuff, 3 damage. Exile's effect is, the exile clause is huge here. And this doesn't really affect our deck outside of, because we could bring Spellbreaker up to a 4/4. Outside of Bone Crusher, maybe Ooze and Elf. If Ooze isn't already a 4/4 by then, it doesn't really affect our deck. Questing Beast can't kill, Glorybringer, Elder can't kill, Spellbreaker can't kill. But obviously, Anger of the Gods is a great card. 2 Reclamation Sage. This is, once again, this is against 9 lives, Paradox, which is oven, stuff like that. Rhythm in the Wild is there for the control decks. You resolve this, they can no longer counter any of your creatures, and all your creatures now have Riot. Shifting Ceratops, same thing against control, against Blue Temple, whatever you want to do it. It's against that. And then top it off, Vivian Reed's also kind of against control and mid-range decks. It helps us look for our creatures, could destroy artifacts and enchantments. And then obviously the win condition, your creatures have vigilance, trample, and indestructible. It's going to be huge. So yeah, we've used this deck so far to get ourselves into Mythic. We went from Diamond to Mythic with this deck. Let's see where we go from in Mythic. Let's see what we can do with this deck. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe, hit that like button, drop some comments down below, and let's go ahead and get into the matches. All right, here we go. Let's take some Jund into Historic. Jund Big Boys. I like to call it Jund Big Boys. Oh, Emrakul against rank number 5. Nice, okay. Rank number 5, Emrakul. All right, that seems good. We have 1 on the play. We have 3 mana, 4 mana, 5 mana in play. I'll keep this. As long as they don't aggro us too far ahead. Oh, all right, that sucks. I guess they're gonna probably take here what? Kiora maybe? Ooh, Elder Gargaroth. Oh, well. The elf would have been better on turn 1. Then we would have had we would have had Kiora here in play already, but it's all right. All right, so I think we set up with Kiora here, play our land. We could play this land untapped, use Kiora's effect to untap a land, and then play Ooze. So we played, what, 5 mana worth of play on turn 3. Pretty good. So I think we're playing against Abzan counters. So he knows about a Questing Beast. Let's just cast Questing Beast, draw a card. Grafdigger's Cage. I'm assuming he's playing Company. So pretty sure that's a good card to play. So I think we attack, leave out the mana just in case to boost something with Ooze. We have Elder Gargaroth in worst case scenario. And let's play Cage to stop Collect the Company. All right, well, that was a quick game 1. All right, so I think he's playing Collect the Company, Abzan counters deck. So pretty sure we just bring in removal here. I mean, I could be wrong that he's not playing Abzan counters since I didn't see anything in his deck other than Thoughtseize. Okay, well, let's see. I'm pretty sure, like I said, I'm pretty sure we bring in just the Abrades and the Angers here. I could bring in Duress, but that seems bad, so I don't think I want to do that. God's not great here. He's a Coco deck. It doesn't do anything. I could cut one Grafdigger's Cage and one Elf Grafdigger's Cage. Obviously, it's good against Collected Company, but if he already has a bunch of aggro creatures in play, it doesn't do anything. And the Elf, since we're on the draw, is not as powerful as it is on the play. Alright, this is a lot better. We have an Abrade, Anger, Bone Crusher, Questing Beast, and some lands. I think I put Questing Beast here on the bottom because Abrade, Anger, and Bone Crusher kill creatures here, and I need the 3 lands, so. Alright, so yeah, it's the company deck. So I would play Blood Crypt, it gives us red source, it gives us black source. We already have green and red. Scavenger News. Alright, I think I have to try to kill this here to force him to use Selfless Savior to sack and protect the ooze. And then if he does, even if he casts a 2-drop here, he can eat, the Selfless Savior, but then Anger the Gods will just kill both his creatures. So that's, unless the 2-drop is the one creature that, what does it put? It's a 1/1 counter on creatures, and he plays a land untapped. And speaking of, there's that 2-drop. Okay, I guess let's see what he's gonna put the counter on. So that way, either way, Selfless Savior protects it, but let's see what he's gonna put the counter on. So we use Bone Crusher here instead of a Braid. Even if he protects it with indestructibility, it still goes to our Adventure Zone. And it's a 2-mana kill spell versus a 3, I mean, not 2 mana, but 2 damage versus 3 damage is big. Alright, so just play our land, playing on the gods, and wipe both creatures. Okay. We could then next turn play Kiora. Yeah, so play Kiora, use our land to we drew an untapped land anyways, I guess. Alright. Kiora plus untap, use a Braid, kill. Keep nothing on the board for him, so he can't do anything. And then we get to play a Questing Beast. Ugh, my opponent is stuck on 2 lands, huh? Even, I mean, I don't know what else he could be doing here, but our hand was pretty good against him. We had 3 removals, with one of them being a board wipe. And then we have 4 draws with Kiora, or 4 power with Kiora. I think he takes Kiora. No, wow. Wow, he took Questing Beast over Kiora? Especially since he knows Bone Crusher's in the Adventure Zone. That's very interesting. Alright, we don't have enough mana to cast Elder even with the untap, so we're just gonna pass. I don't know. I guess if you have Baffling End, you could just remove the creatures I'm playing, but Kiora seemed better. I don't know. I guess you can't block Questing Beast and you can't Baffling End Questing Beast, sure. Alright, so we got Thoughtseize here. Skyclave, so he can't take Kiora. Baffling End can't touch Elder, and he's 2 mana away from casting Baneslayer anyways. And if he does cast Baneslayer, well, we have Bloodchief and Shadow Skull to start killing stuff. Kiora is such a powerhouse in this deck. We have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we could use the mana, untap with Kiora, and then gives us 8 mana for Shatter here. Kill his Love Struck and his Skyclave. And then the creature comes in with Skyclave, and it triggers for us to draw a card. Ugh, this Kiora is doing work. That's why I run 2 in this version, and then I run 4 in my other deck. The other deck has a really high win rate. All right, nice. There we go. Rank 81. There we go. Nice. All right, let's get this show on the road again. John Big Boys, Historic, Renaud. Nice, we're on the play. 1 land. He's revealing a Jenga, so it's either, what is it, a Jund Sacrifice deck, or what's the Paradox deck, because Paradox runs that. Alright, this is a better hand. We have double Thoughtseize and a removal. Bottom Overgrown Tomb, since Woodland Cemetery is the same thing as Overgrown Tomb, and Woodland Cemetery, I don't have to pay any life for it. Let's see what they're playing. So red with green. So is this like the red cocoa deck or something? Interesting. I haven't played against this. I mean, he's doing pretty well. He's top 300 with it. So I think I take Beaumont Courier just for the card advantage it gives. And yeah, because I could kill his, say, Ooze. I could Thoughtseize something else away. We are taking a lot of life, but Glorybringer is not great here, especially since we don't have double red and it's a 5-drop. Not great here. I could hold up, eliminate here. Let him cast the Ooze, eliminate the Ooze at end step, and then the following turn play Thoughtseize. Could play Blood Crypt here and just play Thoughtseize. There's a couple of different lines of play. I could just take the Ooze out of his hand and then eliminate the creature that's in play currently. I mean, he gets to do what, 4 damage from his burn spells, and then 2 from, or 3 from Soulsar. So that's 7. So I was like, he could do a maximum of 7 damage this turn. All right, so we're just gonna hold up eliminate here. Obviously, if we draw another red, we have Glorybringer. But we are gonna kill this Soulscar Mage just because otherwise he's gonna start chaining spells and start doing more and more damage. And since he's a red deck, we don't want to be taking damage from his creatures and his burn spells. So let's take damage from one or the other. Elf, you're not good here. You're no good here. But I'll play you, but you're no good here. Too late. Oh, quite a bit of good draws here. Alright, let's see what we can hit. I was checking to see how much red sources we play. Cure is good, I guess. It allows us to play Glorybringer the next turn because we could use it to untap the Blood Crypt. And it lets us draw a card, which is pretty nice. Ooh, double Glorybringer. So we're going to have to use the Elf here to chump block. Attacking with Glorybringer. Oh, this is a tough part. Okay, so if I attack with Glorybringer, he could remove the Elf. I take 5 and his Random Ruins kills me regardless. So I feel like I should hold Glorybringer back at least 1 turn here. Just so in case he kills Elf. So that way we could chump block with Jenga. But then also if we're doing that, we're probably not winning anyways, because then how do we still kill Jenga? Or not Jenga, what am I saying, Jenga? How are we gonna kill Geneth or Wellsprings, whatever you want to call it? But I still have to hold it back, the attack here, just to be safe. So I could chump block here with the Elf. Can't take the 5 or we're just dead. All right, so do this same play again, and then we're going to double exert here to kill the Wellspring off. Thoughtseize. All right, not great when you're at 7 life, but all right. So exert and exert, kill. What does he have? He's gonna sack the ruins. Okay, we're down to 5. We're down to 5. But we have him on, so we don't have him on I was gonna say we have him on a 1 turn clock, but never mind, we do not have him on a 1 turn clock. Let's draw a card. We don't have him on a 1 turn clock, so playing that didn't matter. I mean, playing that as a 3/3 didn't matter because we weren't gonna draw a card anyways. But now we could play Questing Beast, attack him for 4. And then he's dead next turn if he doesn't kill us. I guess Ooze would have been nice to draw before the Questing Beast, actually, because then I can use that to gain life. Gotta gain 2 life here, gone to 7. Shock. Alright, does he have a 3-mana burn? Nope. If he had a 3-mana burn, he would have just burned us right now. Oh, there you go. Good game. Alright. We got game 1 against red. Alright, so it's red. So we bring in the Abrades, the Angers. I don't really like Thoughtseize in this matchup because I don't really like taking damage when they're trying to burn us and stuff. Plus, we could bring in Duress as a counteraction to Thoughtseize. Grafdigger's Cages are also not good here. They don't really care about their graveyard. So their Braves, the Angers, those are obvious coming in. Not really sure Clothless does anything in this matchup. They don't care about their graveyard. We don't care about their graveyard. That's could be an easy cut. So I could cut the Clothless and then bring in like 3 Duresses, but they do run creatures also. Cindervines, I mean, it could kill Beaumont Courier, but that's not worth it. Shifting Ceratops, I'm just debating because it's a 5/4, you know? Clothless is the thing I'm like on right now because I'm just like, I guess one, no, Grafdigger's Cage, I don't know, that's tough. I could keep one in because in case they bring, what is it, so their company obviously, so it stops collected company, but also in case they bring the enchantment that they could play cards off the top of their deck. Like I said, Clothless doesn't do anything here. I think one Grafdigger's Cage is okay. They're playing company. It stops company. It can stop the enchantment, so we'll keep it just in case. Worst case scenario, it's only one. It's not really going to hurt us. Alright, so we have 2 removal, 2 lands, and then a bunch of big cost cards. I mean, pretty sure we keep because we have 2 early removal. Soul Scar Mage, okay. There's another land. We play Stomping Ground obviously because it keeps our Woodland Cemeteries from coming in untapped, and we don't have the shock this turn anyways because we don't have anything to play. All right, we're gonna kill Ooze. Ooh, Duress. Kill the Ooze here. Next turn we can play Duress and Blood Chief. So we can kill something and that, and then if we draw an untapped land or something along those lines, we play Questing Bees and just go from there. Another Ooze. Ugh, Gargaroth. Gargaroth. Okay, we definitely take Wizard's Lightning here. That's a 1 mana spell for him versus the 2 mana Lightning Strike. And then I just, like I said, I can't let him do damage to me with creatures and spells. So we just have to kill off the creatures as fast as possible and as much as possible. Oh, he drew another Wizard's Lightning. Nice. We drew our land. It's a shock land, but we drew our land. We have to shock because Questing Beast did damage, kills a creature, forces him to use Lightning Strike on our Questing Beast rather than at us. So I can either block Soulscar Mage, trade with that, or block Gitu and trade with that. He's gonna Lightning Strike our Questing Beast, so that way he puts counters on it, so it trades with any of his creatures. I feel like maybe I just block Gitu here because Gitu is, regardless of how you put it, it's 2 damage, whereas Soulscar Mage has to use a spell to get to 2 damage. You know, obviously Soulscar Mage could get bigger than Gitu if you chain a bunch of spells, but looking at his hand, he only has 2 cards in his hand. I block Gitu here, and you know, Soulscar Mage down the road, if he doesn't draw spells, that's just going to be doing 1 damage versus Gitu doing 2 damage a turn. So Lightning Strike, Questing Beast. Yep. Come on. We know you're going to do it. Let's do it, opponent. We know it's coming. Yep. Yep. So we trade with Gitu and we take 2. If we could draw a land here. Yes. Yes. Land. That was a timely land. I don't think an opponent could beat an Elder and then beat 2 Elders, actually, you know. We're going to gain life here because our life total is, yeah, opponent definitely cannot beat 2 Elders here. No way. We cast Glorybringer here, Exert also. I think that's what we do. We just win the game with that, right? We attack, Exert, attack with the Elders. They have Trample, and he can't block our Glorybringer anyways. So gain life here and draw a card. Just keep our life total buffered and drawing spells. Sure. Nice. There we go. Nice. All right. Top 50. Okay. All right. Top 50. All right. Let's get into our next match. We're playing some John the Big Boys. John the Big Boys. So far, we're doing pretty good with this John Big Boys. We're top 50 so far with it. So it's pretty good. Mythic top 50, historic. Buttons. We're playing against Buttons. I think I've played against this guy in the past few days, so I don't know. All right, so this is definitely a good enough hand. It would have been much better if we were on the play versus the draw. Especially now that we drew Kiora. So, all right, we have two lines of play here. So he's playing Gruul because the land is red-green. So we know he's playing that. So we can play Elf here. If he doesn't kill Elf, we get to play a turn 2 Kiora. Use Kiora to untap a land to play Thoughtseize. Or we just play Thoughtseize. But I think the Kiora line is better and it progresses our board a lot more. Volcanic Brawler. Alright, I don't, since he's Gruul aggro, I don't think I want to take damage here. I could play Woodland Cement. No, I would have to play Blood Crypt, actually. Could just take the 3. But if I play Kiora here, I have to tap my Elf anyways, and then Kiora takes 4 damage. That's kind of huge. I don't think I want to take 4 damage to Kiora. Then her plus effect is, you only get to use it 3 times versus 7 times. That's a huge, huge play. I feel like we just eliminate this brawler and just prevent him from doing damage from us, preserve our life total. And plus Kiora is not really doing anything currently with our hand. Obviously ramping up is big. So we're gonna let him use the energy here before we eliminate, just to get rid of 1 less energy in his pool. We're going to kill it regardless. We should just kill it after he uses the energy. So he has 1 less. Clot this. That's fine. Alright. Glorybringer is not bad. So we can play Thoughtseize here and use Kiora. Or not use Kiora, but play Kiora. Oh, nice. Nice. Collected Company. Alright. I think we win from this point here. Unless he draws another Collected Company. Cloth Zank is not going to win him the game fast enough. It's only gaining 2, doing 2. Elf is not going to do anything. Especially since we're casting Glorybringer here anyways. So we tap red with the Blood Crypt, use Cure, untap the red, cast Glorybringer. We don't have to take any damage from our own lands. Since he has Clothis in play, we don't want to be doing that. Alright, he just took to concede. Yep. Yep. All right, so Gruul aggro, braids, angers. That's pretty sure that's all we bring in against that deck. We just want to remove their creatures, keep them off stuff, stuff pretty much like that. As long as we don't get beat down really fast, we should be good against them. All right, so I could bring in Vivian, but I wish it said exile target enchantment too, so that we could exile Clothis. All right, so I'm on the draw. I'm going to cut 1 cage here. I don't really like, what's it called, the Chandra on the draw. Clothis doesn't really do much. I could take an Elf out or an Ooze. I think the Elf is better since we're on the draw. Elf is stronger on the play rather than the draw. Like that game you just saw where we were able to, if he didn't have something we had to kill, we could have had a turn 2 Kiora. So turn 2 Kiora is going to be a beast. Beast of a powerhouse, so because then you could have like a turn 3 questing beast, turn 4 elder, or turn 4 elder. Actually, you could have a turn 3 elder because the elf creates a land, and then you have 3 lands, and then Kiora creates a land. Yeah, a turn 3 elder. That'd be pretty crazy. That would be pretty crazy. All right, come on, Buttons. Come on, Buttons. All right, here we go. Next game. Buttons. So we have Thoughtseize, Anger. I am pretty sure we keep because we could Thoughtseize his hand, Bone Crusher something, and then if we draw another land, we can use Anger of the Gods. All right, so we go Bone Crusher, the Volcanic Brawler. So we're not going to take that right off the bat. I mean, I could take it to. No, it doesn't really matter because he has Elf in play. I was gonna say to stop him from playing anything this turn, so we're not taking that. So I think it's either the Landfall guy or the Rampaging Ferocidon. The Landfall guy gets bigger, but the Rampaging Ferocidon starts doing damage. And it has Menace, so we can't block it. At least the Mammoth we can block. So let's see what he's gonna do. So he's playing a Mammoth, okay. Key Aura. Alright, well, we need to draw a land so we can play Anger of the Gods. Otherwise, we're in trouble. So Rootbound Crag. We use it on Bone. We could use it on Elf, or we can just let him cast the Brawler and then use Bone Crusher on the Brawler because he already has the mana required to do anything. But if he drew a Collected Company, obviously killing the Elf there would have been good. So that way he didn't have a turn 3 Collected Company, but Pelt Collector, sure. If he puts more to the board here, man, this Anger of the Gods is going to be insane. Taking 6. I could use Bone Crusher on Pelt Collector, but if I draw a land, I get to Anger 3 for 1. I think I just hold the Bone Crusher here. Because I could only kill either Elf or Pelt Collector. And if I don't draw a land, I can do that same play anyways and just instant speed Bone Crusher them. Or Bone Crusher one of them. I feel like yeah. Ugh, we didn't draw the land. Dang, man. All right. Well, we get to take this. So we're gonna get hit for 5, 6. Oh, that's just game. Never mind. I was gonna say we're gonna get hit for 5, 6, 7. We'd go down to 1, but never mind. That's just game. If we drew the land there, oh man, we would have been so good. All right, I don't think I'm changing anything here. The Elf is obviously great on the play versus the draw. So yeah, I don't think I'm really changing anything here. So I think I just run it. I could cut a card, I guess, to make it down to 60 instead of 61. Could cut the cage, I guess. Yeah, bring it down to 60, I guess. Like I said, cage is good, but it only does something against Collected Company. If we draw it and they already have a board set up, we just lose. All right, we have 4 lands, 2 removal, and a creature. Yeah, so if they have a board set up already and we draw cage, it doesn't do anything. Cage is obviously, ooh, nice, Anger of the Gods. Cage is obviously good to stop Collected Company, but you have to be able, I mean, we do play a decent amount of removal, so we could keep their board relatively clear, but all right, Burning Tree Emissary to Pelt Collector. That didn't seem like a great play. So I think we play the land and play Gruul Spellbreaker as a 4/4, and then the following turn we can play Anger of the Gods, and our Spellbreaker doesn't die. This also holds back his creatures from attacking us, sets up a turn where we just Anger the Gods and do a 3 for 1. Yep. So here it goes. We got a 3 for 1. We took no damage, and we're going to wipe your board. And we're going to hit you for 4. And we have an Eliminate and an Ooze. Obviously, Ooze doesn't have that many targets just because we exiled all your creatures, but, you know, whatever. We can't have everything. Can't have the cake and the tea. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. I know there was a saying something about that. You can't make your bed and have something like that. I don't know. Never mind. Scratch that. Scratch that, people. Scratch that. I don't know what I'm saying. Cast the ooze. You can use it to eat his pelt collector. If he chooses to block, he tramples, so there's no reason to block. So we can use the ooze. I'm sure we could kill this and then eat something. We could just hold it up. Doesn't really matter. Kiora, you're kind of late, my friend. All right, let's eat his brawler. Does he want to take 8 damage here? Wow, he does. He goes down to 4. I mean, I think you're just kind of dead then, right? It's a tap the Gruul Spellbreaker. Prevent Kiora from being dealt damage. Boom. Good game, opponent. Good game. Nice. Top 36. All right, I'm going to say top 36, number 30. All right, hey everyone. Welcome to the Sideboard Guy. This is Jund. Midrange, Jund Big Boys. That's interesting that there's a, whatever this is, or is it for the Chandra? It's for the Chandra. You can see the little things on the side. All right, but yeah, Jund Midrange. As you just saw in the matches we played against what, Gruul there. We played against Abzan counters. What was I forgot what the other deck was. The third deck was, well, oh, red cocoa or red whatever that deck is called. But we played against those. We got to rank 36 with this deck. So this deck is clearly a great deck. We used it to get from Diamond to Mythic, and then now in Mythic we got to rank 36 with the deck. It's a pretty solid deck. I think we have something around like an 82 to 83% win rate at the moment with it. Obviously, it still needs a little bit more fine tuning here. The sideboard needs a little bit of work, maybe the main deck, but I'm gonna fine tune it some more. But I think the current setup right now is very solid already as it is. So, and like you just saw, rank 36 is pretty good, and we played against some of the top end decks, I guess, too. But if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe button here on YouTube, hit that notification. If you want to see me streaming live, go ahead and follow me on Twitch. Look into the description of this video. You'll have the link to my Twitch, so you can follow me there. I stream usually 7 days a week, so you can watch me see what decks I'm playing. The next one's going to be a good one too, so go ahead and hit that follow button on Twitch to watch me play that deck, and hit subscribe here on YouTube, so when I post the video you'll get to see it. The next one is a doozy. It's a very good one, and I think you'll guys will enjoy it. But yeah, so hit that subscribe, follow me on Twitch. Let's get into the sideboard guide. So we're going to do the sideboard guide against, I'm going to only do it against the top 4 decks in the current meta. And the way I grab the current meta is I look at those websites like Goldfish and MTG Zone and stuff like that, whatever. And I base it off what is doing well or playing in the last 2 weeks. Obviously, different decks are going to be played a month later than whatever, but currently right now the top 4 decks being played are Sultai, Gruul, Rakdos, Arcanus, whatever, and Goblins. So we're gonna have a sideboard guide against those 4 decks. Obviously, you know, next week it might change. It might be, you know, the Boggles deck, as you know, then it could be, you know, something else. It could be whatever, but currently those are the top 4 decks. So let's get into the sideboard guide for those 4 decks right now. So the first one obviously is Sultai. Sultai, you're gonna see it's one of the most consistent, the best decks in the format. It can outgrind most of the decks, if not all the decks in the current meta. Obviously, it can lose to just getting aggroed out by Gruul or Goblins, but outside of that, I mean, they run enough removals, they run counter spells that they hopefully wouldn't be able to get aggroed out. Plus, they run Uro. That card is a retarded card. It's way too big, way too powerful. So against Sultai, what we're doing here is we are bringing in 2 Duress, 1 Vivian, and 2 Shifting Ceratops. So the Duress is there to take away like they're gonna bring in counter spells most likely. They're gonna bring in, obviously they have Aether Gust and stuff like that. But the main reason obviously is to hit like Nissa, hit Aether Gust, hit the counter spells. So that's what we do. We want to look at their hand also to see what spells we can resolve and not resolve. So we bring that in. Vivian Reed we bring in because they're a mid-range deck. They're winning with Earl or Nissa, and then this could help us get the card advantage. And then if we get the emblem, obviously the emblem's going to be great. They do run Extinction, so the indestructibility won't matter, but the Trample Vigilance, that does matter. To the 2/2, whatever, but the Trample Vigilance will matter. So, and then we bring in the Shifting Ceratops. We bring this in against Earl. So if you're able to, I guess there's no way to get it out up big enough. I guess if you go Vivian Emblem, you can do it. But we bring this in because we can block Earl effectively without taking damage. So since it has protection against blue, we can block Earl, or we can attack through Earl because Earl can't block this guy. But you could block Earl and then use like a bone crusher effect to do 2 damage to it. So you could kill it. Obviously, Vraska kills Bone Crusher. You can use Shatter to do a damage, but it's mainly there to go past Earl, so we could attack like a Nissa, or to block Earl until we could get an answer to deal with Earl. Obviously, we're also main decking 2 cages and Clothis and Oozes to exile Earl from the graveyard. But worst case scenario, we have this guy to block and go through Earl, and you can use this guy. You could give this guy haste if you want to. And you can give them reach in case they bring in some flyers. You can use it to block Krasis effectively. Also, you take no damage. It has protection. So we bring those in. All right, so we have 2 different ways we sideboard against Sultai. So on the draw, I don't like the 3 Blood Chiefs. I don't like the Elf because we're on the draw. I like Elf more on the play rather than the draw. And I also cut 1 Bone Crusher. So I cut 3 Blood Chiefs, 1 Elf, and 1 Bone Crusher. Bone Crusher can't kill anything, but we also don't want to remove all the copies because of Kiora's passive ability, so we could draw cards. So we cut 1. We keep 1 just because, like I said, we don't want to take too much out because then Kiora becomes less effective. I like Elf on the play rather than the draw, so we cut 1. We still have 3 in the deck, so we still have the ramp, but it's a lot stronger on the play than the draw because then you can do a turn 3 play on turn 2 or turn 4 play on turn 3, etc. The Blood Chief, it's good against Earl and the Manlands. I guess you can keep them in, but I personally have found it not all that great, especially since we're trying to exile Earl from the graveyard or prevent it from coming out. This is pretty much kind of like a 4-mana kill Nissa, and I'd rather keep in the Eliminates because the reason we keep the Eliminates over the Blood Chiefs is because, okay, so this is a 2-mana kill Nissa, or 2-mana kill Narset. Narset kind of does matter because we have Kiora. So if it takes away our draw power, it kind of does matter. So we keep that in because of that. On top of that, this can kill Earl and the Manland. So the only thing this can't kill is Nissa. Whereas this, yes, this can kill Nissa, Narset, Earl, and the lands, but this requires 4 mana to kill Nissa and Narset. And killing Narset on turn 4, if we don't have the ramp, is bad because they get both effects of Narset, and then we kill it, but they don't really care because they got both effects of Narset. And if we have Kiora in play, we're still not drawing cards for 2 turns at least. And then they can just negate it. We spent 4 mana. Whereas with this, even if we were on the play or the draw, they cast Narset on turn 3, we can kill it immediately on that same turn, and then we have Kiora to start drawing cards. So the difference between the 2 is this can kill all 4 cards, the lands, Earl, Narset, and Nissa. This cannot kill Nissa. That's the only difference. And being able to do it at instant speed versus sorcery speed kind of matters, but kind of doesn't since we're a tap out deck. Personally, I'm keeping this in over the other. And then on the play, we just remove 3 Bloods and 2 Bone Crushers. Like I said, we want Land War Elf on the play because we want a ramp. So that's against Sultai. Now, if we're playing against Gruul, it's pretty easy. We just bring in removal. I bring in 2 Abrades, 2 Anger of the Gods. This obviously would just remove their creatures. And what I take out here is I take out 1 cage, 1 Klothys, one elf, and one Chandra. So I take the elf out because they're going to have bone crushers, they're going to have abrades on the play or the draw. This is kind of slow. They're casting 3/3s, 2/2s, 4/4s, whatever. This is not going to do anything. It's only there for the ramp. I take out one cage, leave one in because they're an aggro deck. So if we draw this and they already have an established board, what is this going to do? Like, obviously this is only there to counter Collected Company. But if they already have 2 to 3 creatures on board and they're beating us down and we draw this, it doesn't do anything. So that's why I keep one in just in case to stop a Collected Company. But I also don't want to have too many in there in case they have too much on the board. So I take that out. Klothys obviously doesn't do anything against their deck. If we don't have enough devotion in play, it doesn't become a creature. So besides that, it doesn't do anything. So we just cut that. We also cut Chandra because we're pretty much going to be using it as a 4-mana removal spell, and that's technically not worth it when we could have the cheaper 2 mana and 3 mana. And if we cast it, they're just going to kill it on the same turn if they already have a board. So we cut that for that purpose. So that's the sideboard against Gruul. Now the other deck is Rakdos Arcanist. They're just using their graveyard. They're using their creatures to keep coming back from their graveyard. So they're just using recursion of the graveyard, both creatures and spells. So against Rakdos Arcanist, what we want to do is kill their creatures, exile their graveyard, exile their creatures, remove cards out of their hands like the Village Rites, maybe the Claim to the Firstborn, stuff like that. We want to get rid of their draw power, their creatures, and pick out their hand, their powerful cards. So against the Rakdos Arcanist deck, I bring in 2 Duress, 2 Abrade, and 2 Anger the Gods. And what I cut is 2 Elves, 1 Bone Crusher, 1 Chandra, and 1 Elder. So we bring in the Duresses to pick off, Village Rites, whatever, the Claim to the Firstborns. We pick out their spells, the powerful spells, the spells that kill their creatures, the Harvest that kills our Planeswalkers. We use that to take that away. Obviously, Abrade, it does 3 damage. It kills every single creature they play. So we put Braid in there. And Anger the Gods, it does 3 damage to their whole board. So against their Pyromancer tokens, and it exiles, which is the big part. So they can't return it back from their graveyard. So we bring that in. We cut the elves. Elf doesn't do anything here because even their Pyromancer tokens, like, they'll definitely trade a token 1/1 for our elf. So we don't want to have a 1/1 against tokens. You know what I mean? So we cut the 2 elves here. We cut one bone. We cut, what is it? Yeah, 1 Bone Crusher here. No, we cut 2 Bone Crushers here. So we cut the 2 Bone Crushers here because we're bringing in a Braid and Anger the Gods, and this can't kill. The main purpose why we're cutting this is it cannot kill the Dreadhorde Arcanist. The Dreadhorde Arcanist is a 1/3, and then they get to just keep casting cards out of their graveyard. So we cut that for this reason. We cut both of them for this reason, and we're bringing in other cards that do 3 damage. 2 Abrades and 2 Anger the Gods. They do 3 damage. They can kill Dreadhorde Arcanist. So we cut 2 Bone Crushers for that reason. And then Chandra is too high of a cost, 4 mana. They're probably going to take it out of our hands with Thoughtseize. If we cast it, they probably have a bunch of tokens from Pyromancers maybe. So this doesn't really do anything. It's a high cost card. We cut Elder also just because of the 5 mana cost. We keep in the Glowbringers because then it can exert and kill their creature. But we cut one of these just because it's a higher cost card. So that's what we do against Rakdos. We bring in 2 Abrade, 2 Anger, 2 Duress. We cut 2 Elves, 2 Bone Crushers, 1 Chandra, and 1 Gargroth. All right, so the last deck we're going to do is Goblins. Obviously, you're going to see Goblins some point in playing your Historic matches. You'll see Goblins. It's one of the top decks being played. We don't really have much against Goblins other than just killing their creatures. We obviously, the Grafdigger's cages are huge, so Muxus doesn't work, Snoop doesn't work. But against Goblins, we bring in 2 Abrades and 2 Anger the Gods. And what we cut is I cut 1 elf because it's slow. Their creatures are all 2/2s. They don't even care. And same with the tokens that they create with Krenko, 1/1s, 2/2s, 3/3s, 4/4s. Their goblins pump their other goblins. So elf, we cut 1. We cut 1 Klothys. They don't care about the graveyard. We don't care about their graveyard. So we cut 1 Klothys. We cut 1 Chandra. It's too slow if they have a bunch of creatures in play. Even if they have 1/1s in play, this doesn't do anything. And we cut 1 Elder Gargroth. Once again, we're trimming down our curve. This doesn't do anything in terms if they have 7, 8 creatures. What is Elder Gargroth really going to do? It could block 1, start creating 3/3s, attack, they can just kill us in that turn where they have 7 creatures. So we cut this down. We keep it obviously Glorybringer because it can kill, and with the Exert, it can kill every single creature they have, unless they have like 3 or 4 of those goblins that give all their other goblins +1/+1. So this is technically a 5 mana removal spell. So once again, we bring in 2 Abrades, 2 Angers to clear the board, and then we take out 1 Elf, 1 Colossus, 1 Chandra, and 1 Elder. So that's the sideboard guide against the top 4 decks we played this past 2 weeks so far. So Sultai, Gruul, Rakdos, Arcanus, and Goblins. Obviously, there's other decks like control card decks. Control, we have Duresses. We have Rhythm of the Wild. They can't counter our stuff. We have Shifting Ceratops, Vivians, so there's that. For playing against like the Paradox decks, you have Duresses, Abrade, Cindervines, Reclamation, Sages, even Vivian because it destroys artifact. So you have that against the Paradox decks. Against, what is it? The Boggles deck or whatever the Auras deck you want to call it. You have Duresses, you have Abrades, you have Angers, you even have Cindervines because you could destroy enchantments. You have Reclamation, Sages. So you have cards against other decks outside the top 4 decks, but we're only going to talk about 4 decks currently being played because there's the bulk of the meta. There's something around like 60-70% of the meta, 80% of the meta is those 4 decks. So, but that's the sideboard guide against those decks. Hopefully you enjoy the sideboard guide. Go ahead and drop some comments down below if you need something, if you want to ask for some help on a specific deck, meta deck. I can try to help you with the sideboard against that deck, But if you also drop some comments how you like this deck, if you play it, if you change anything up, make it better. I would love to hear some feedback about the deck. Drop some comments down in the description below. Come and watch me on Twitch while I'm streaming. Give me some comments there. But otherwise, go ahead and hit that subscribe button here on YouTube. Hit that notification. Follow me on Twitch while I stream these decks live. So 7 days, usually a week. But thanks for watching, and I will see you guys on the next video.